Hello, second grade. Me again. I'm so excited to do some more measuring with you today. Whew, are you ready? Raise your hand if you had some fun measuring with your inch tiles or your inches on your ruler yesterday. Oh, yes, I much prefer that ruler because it helps me keep my materials straight. I don't have to balance it all out and make it stay just right. Whew, it's tricky to do that. Well, let's take a look at our work today at Learn Target and we will get started. I can use objects to measure length. Ooh, now friends, we know from yesterday that our objects are going to be a little different today as they were last week. When we're measuring our length, we're measuring how long something is, right? So if I'm measuring this guy right here, I'm seeing from the beginning to the end, how long is it? That's its length. We're using objects. We're not using today our tiles. We're not using any erasers. We're not using any big cubes to help us measure this today. Our objects are going to be our units of measure we're going to use today. And yesterday we learned about standard units of measure. So I'm going to show you this chart that we looked at yesterday, and it's one that we'll keep up as we're learning about measuring this week. We've been doing non-standard units, and non-standard units are those units that are different depending on who's using it. So when you say cubes, maybe it's this big cube, or maybe it's this little cube. When you say tiles, maybe you mean this tile right here, or maybe you mean one of these little tiles right here. When you say an eraser, maybe I'm thinking you mean the eraser on top of my pencil, but you really mean this eraser. So those non-standard units are not the same for everybody. We can use them to help us measure. We can record measurement with those non-standard units, but that doesn't mean it's the same for everyone. The standard units, though, are what we learned about yesterday. Standard means that they're the same for everybody else. And we learned about two in particular. We learned about our inch, which is about the size of a quarter. And we learned about our centimeter, which is about the size as my pinky finger. We learned about them because we find them on a ruler, which is a tool. We have tools for everything. We have tools like a number line. We have tools like our base 10 blocks. We have tools like a clock. Tools everywhere. Well, our tool for measurement is this amazing ruler. And this ruler has our inches on one side and our centimeters on the other. So we can use this one tool to measure with either of those standard units. Yesterday, we learned about the unit of the inch a little bit more. Today, we're going to learn a bit more about the centimeter. So, what we're going to do is we are going to measure this little guy with our non-standard unit using some tiles. Now, you get these tiles from home. Your teacher might have given you some tiles that you're going to put together. She might have given you a whole piece of paper filled with these. Now, let me tell you something. When you start snipping these tiles, they go everywhere. These centimeters are small. So what I did was I left one of my strings together. And I did that because I figured I can cut some off or I can add some. But if I start cutting these, I'm going to lose them. So I did want to show you what that looks like if you want to cut some and do some more strips instead of individual ones, okay? Now, just like yesterday, our same rules of measurement apply, right, second grade? We're going to start at the beginning and end at the end. So if I want to put my strip up, am I going to start my strip right here? What about right here? Now, where am I going to start it? Yes, I'm going to start it right here where that little guy starts. And look, it's not quite long enough. So what do I need to do? You're right. I need to get some more. Do I need to get a lot more? Oh, maybe just one. So now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to very carefully, and you might need to ask an adult to help you, because you do want to make sure that your pieces are just the right size. These are centimeter tiles. So our centimeter tiles, we want to stay a centimeter. And I add that little guy at the end. Isn't that wonderful? Now let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and the last one is 12. So about how long is my piece of string here? It's not exactly, but it's about 12 centimeter tiles long. And I did want to say tiles because when I'm measuring with my centimeters, that's when I'm using my ruler. These are those tiles. That means they're not exact. So I want to make sure that I say centimeter tiles when I'm measuring. Just like if I were to say my inch tiles from last time. Now, let's double check it, shall we? I'm going to come up here and you see where my 0 is? Just like with my inches, I'm going to start at the 0. Just like with my rules of measurement, I'm going to start at the beginning. And that start is that 0. So, and remember, and I'll say this, guys, because take a peek at this. What do you notice about that? Is that 0 starting right at the end of that ruler? No. In fact, if you were to look at the inch side, the same thing would be true. It's not exactly at the end. So if you start at the end, it's not going to be accurate. You want to start at the 0. Where are you going to start? Yes, the 0. And here we go. This is why we call them tiles, because we have all the way up, and it's almost to the 12, and it's right between the 12 and the 11. So we might say that it's about 12 centimeters long. It's a hair short, just the hair. Okay, it's between that 11 and that 12. Very, very good. And I might make a little note to myself, between 11 and 12 centimeters. And I write that cm because centimeters is take a long time to write that, wouldn't it? We don't want to write that out every single time, do we? So we can write our cm, that stands for centimeters. Now, we get a chance. So which is going to be easier to use? Is it going to be easier to use those tiles, or is it going to be easier to use the ruler? Yeah, with my tiles, I've got to line them up just right. I might have to just cut and tape and all that. And with this, I line it up right at my 0, and I see where it ends, and I'm done. So much easier to use my tiles. Now, let me show you a centimeter ruler. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it nice and clearly. What do you notice about these numbers? They're closer together than the inches. They're all about the same space apart, aren't they? And my pinky is my judge, right? My pinky, oh, I think my pinky's gotten bigger since before. Let's see if it works. About there. Oh yeah, look, it's about the same. So they're evenly spaced, aren't they? They're standard. They're the same. Isn't that amazing? Look at that. That pinky fits in between all of those, and it fits just right, doesn't it? This is our centimeter ruler. Now, when we look at a centimeter ruler, when we look at the centimeters on a real ruler, you're going to notice that they're going to go to what number? 30. Yes, a regular standard ruler has 30 centimeters, and it has 12 inches. And we'll review that tomorrow, okay? So it has, a ruler has 12 inches and 30 centimeters. But you don't have to remember that quite yet. What we want to be keeping in mind is what a ruler looks like. It has our centimeters. It has our inches. They're evenly spaced. We did that with our work yesterday with our inch tiles, didn't we? So, I have some friends. And my friends' names are Ty and Lynn. And you get a chance to do this today. But Ty and Lynn were in charge of making their own ruler. Oh yeah, fun, right? You just do it later. Well, here's the ruler that they did. I'm actually going to take it off here and I'm going to let you peek at it because it's very light today. Take a peek at these two rulers. Now I'm going to name them before I show you much more. Let me name them. We're going to have ruler A and ruler B. Okay? Take a peek at those rulers. One of them is done correctly. One of them is not quite correct. What do you think, friends? What do you notice about them? What do you notice about A? Oh yeah, I noticed that too. The 6 and the 5 and the 6 is not very far apart, but the 6 and the 7 is very far apart. They're both starting at 0. They're both starting at 9, ending at 9. They're measured in inches. So which one was done correctly? If you think A, go ahead and do A. If you think B, do B. A, B. Yes. Why is B done correctly? Because we know when we look at our other rulers, whether it's this ruler or whether it's this ruler, that we want to have those units evenly spaced. So when you go off to do yours, you can use your inch tiles if you'd like. Your centimeter tiles, you're going to make an inch ruler and a centimeter ruler. And I want to see how you can evenly space them. Now I'll remind you, my loves, you can use kind of what we did before, what I did in yesterday's lesson, where we lined them up just right along the side, and then you can mark them at the bottom. It's a great strategy or great tool to use as you're making these rulers later. And then you can use your rulers to measure things around your house. Isn't that fun? So awesome. Now, let's take a peek. I'll move this guy up so you can see him a little bit easier. Oh my goodness. I have another friend. I'm telling you, I got friends all over the place. Aren't I lucky? I have another friend who was measuring a crayon. And this friend is still fairly new with measuring. But when they measured it, they said, I think I got it. They said, Miss Baker, this crayon is 8 centimeters long. And I said, why? How do you know? And they said, well, because when I measured it, I started at my 1 and it landed on the 8. And that's where it stopped. And you told me yesterday that wherever it stops is how long it is. What do you guys think? Do you agree or do you disagree? I'm not seeing a whole lot of wiggle waggles. Virtual friends, are you wiggle waggling? I agree. Well, why not, friends? Where should he have started? Oh, we're supposed to start at the what? We're supposed to start. Where would I put this if I wanted it to be correct? Where would I line the end of that up? At the start of it? No, at the 0. At the 0. Let's make sure that lines up just right. There's my 0. Where does it end now? So how long is my crayon? My crayon is 7 centimeters long. Friends, one of the most important things I can share with you as we're measuring, and we're going to be doing a lot more measuring, You're going to have a chance to measure around your home, measure around the school, measure things in centimeters, measure them in inches. And that's just today and yesterday. You get to measure other things later. Isn't that wonderful? Well, guess what? When you're measuring things, you have to do something really important. You have to be precise. Can you all say precise? Good job. Precise means that you are very close, very particular, just right at the right spot, taking your time, being very thoughtful. My friend, when they were measuring their crayon, they were not being very precise. They were starting at the 1 and then seeing where it landed. I could have started at the beginning of my ruler, but that wouldn't have been precise. I'm going to start right at my 0 and see where I stop. I could have said that string is 12 centimeters long, but it's not. It's almost 12 centimeters long. So when we're measuring, we want to be very careful about the spaces we use when we're making our rulers, where we're starting and where we're stopping, and how we're labeling how long or how short something is. I cannot wait to see your rulers and see all the things you're measuring around your house. I'd love for you to share with me 4 things that you've measured in centimeters today and tell me how long they might be. Maybe you'll measure a water bottle. Maybe you'll measure your math notebook. Maybe you'll measure a marker. Whoop. You can measure anything you can. Find it. See if you have a ruler at home. If you don't, you can use the ruler you're getting ready to make. But you'll have to measure things that are within the range of your ruler. This ruler is only 12 or 10 centimeters long, so I would have to find things that are pretty short. But your rulers might be a little bit longer than that. Happy measuring 2nd grade. I cannot wait to see you again tomorrow. Have a great day.